Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when disrespect pierces the heart like a sharp arrow. It may come from a stranger, a co-worker, a friend, or even someone we love dearly. And in that very moment, the question rises, how do I respond? Do I react with anger, or do I rise above it with dignity? The way you handle disrespect can either shackle you to bitterness or set you free with strength. This is why it is so important that you stay with me through this message, because the truths you are about to hear may change the way you see yourself and the way you deal with others for the rest of your life. When we talk about disrespect, it is easy to take it personally and believe that somehow we are the problem. But the truth is, disrespect is often not a reflection of who you are, but a mirror of the other person's heart. People who fail to show respect often carry wounds, insecurities, and frustrations that spill out onto others. Their harsh words, dismissive tone, or arrogant behavior are more about their inner turmoil than about your worth. Understanding this truth is the very first step to handling disrespect in a way that does not break your spirit. Think about it. A person who is truly at peace with themselves rarely feels the need to belittle others. When someone is confident, secure, and filled with kindness, they naturally extend respect to those around them. It is the insecure, the fearful, the bitter, and the broken who use disrespect as a weapon. It becomes their shield to hide weakness or their mask to cover pain. When you realize this, you begin to see disrespect not as an accurate judgment of you, but as evidence of their inner struggle. This shift in perspective gives you power, because you are no longer reacting to their behavior as though it defines you. Instead, you see it as an outward symptom of what is going on inside of them. But here is where many fall into the trap. We absorb their disrespect and carry it as a personal burden. A cruel word, a dismissive gesture, or a mocking laugh lodges deep in the heart, and we replay it over and over. Slowly it begins to whisper lies that perhaps we are less, that perhaps we do not matter, that perhaps they are right. And once those lies are entertained, our confidence is shaken. That is why it is so important to recognize early that disrespect does not reveal truth about your value. It reveals truth about their brokenness. Imagine a mirror that is cracked. When you look into it, your reflection appears distorted, but that distortion does not mean you are truly broken. It means the mirror is flawed. In the same way, when people reflect disrespect toward you, it is not your identity that is distorted, but their ability to see clearly. They cannot honor you because the lens through which they view the world is already damaged. Knowing this can free you from the need to constantly prove yourself to people who may never see you rightly. Another important part of understanding the nature of disrespect is recognizing the universality of it. Every person, no matter how kind, talented, or accomplished, will face disrespect at some point. It may be subtle, such as someone dismissing your ideas, or it may be blatant, such as open insult. The question is not if disrespect will come, but how you will respond when it does. If you take it as evidence that you are less than others, it will weigh you down. But if you see it as something that reveals more about them than you will rise above it. This is not to say that disrespect does not hurt. It does. Words can sting like arrows and actions can cut like knives. But the pain does not have to dictate your identity. When you understand the source of disrespect, you realize that you are dealing with a projection of their issues, not an accurate statement about your worth. This truth helps you develop resilience, a shield for the heart that keeps you from crumbling every time someone dishonors you. There is also wisdom in realizing that sometimes disrespect comes from envy. People may see something in you, a talent, a gift, a strength that they wish they had, and rather than celebrating it, they try to diminish it. Their disrespect becomes an attempt to pull you down so they can feel taller. Once again, this is not about you being unworthy. It is about them being unable to handle what you represent. Recognizing this helps you respond not with shame, but with quiet strength. Understanding the nature of disrespect requires maturity, because the natural instinct is to retaliate. When someone insults you, you want to insult them back. When someone disrespects you, you want to demand their respect. But wisdom whispers that disrespect loses its power when you stop taking it personally. When you see it as a mirror of them rather than a measure of you, their words and actions no longer have the power to shake your foundation. So the first way to handle people who do not respect you is to remember this: their disrespect is not your identity. It is a reflection of who they are, not who you are. Do not wear their wounds as if they belong to you. Do not accept their insecurity as your truth. Stand tall, knowing that disrespect only defines the one who gives it, never the one who receives it. When someone disrespects you, the most natural response is to feel shaken. Your mind replays the words they said, your heart beats faster, and you may even feel anger boiling inside. But the real strength in those moments is not found in how loudly you respond or how clever your comeback is. It is found in your ability to remain calm and keep your inner peace intact. When you let another person's behavior dictate your emotions, you hand them control over your life. But when you choose to stay steady, you prove that your peace is stronger than their storm. Keeping your peace is not weakness, it is a sign of power. Anyone can explode in anger, but only a strong spirit can stay calm in the face of insult. Think about a tree in a storm. The wind howls, the rain beats down, yet the tree stands rooted, unmoved by the chaos around it. That is the picture of true resilience. People may shout, mock, or belittle you, but when your inner roots are deep, their storm cannot uproot your peace. Peace is not something that falls on you by accident, it is a choice. You choose whether to let someone's words get inside you or let them pass by like noise in the background. When you encounter disrespect, ask yourself, do I want to allow this moment to steal my joy, ruin my day, or take away my confidence? More often than not, the answer is no. By guarding your inner calm, you are protecting something priceless. Anger can destroy relationships, bitterness can poison your spirit, but peace can carry you through every trial with dignity. It is easy to believe that keeping your peace means ignoring the situation or pretending it doesn't hurt. But it is more than that. Keeping your peace means you acknowledge the offense, you recognize the sting, but you do not allow it to dictate your emotional state. It is saying, yes, I see what you've done, but I will not give you the power to disturb the calm within me. In this way, you turn what could have been a wound into a test of your strength. Disrespect thrives on reaction. Those who belittle you often want to provoke you, to see you angry, to feel as though they have power over you. When you lash out, you give them exactly what they were looking for. But when you remain calm, when you answer softly or perhaps not at all, you take away their power. They cannot win a battle you refuse to fight. That silence, that calmness, becomes your shield. It protects you from being dragged into their chaos and leaves them powerless in their attempt to unsettle you. Consider how many times anger has made situations worse. Words spoken in the heat of the moment can't be taken back. Actions made in rage often lead to regret. But when you maintain your peace, you give yourself the space to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. And wisdom always carries more weight than anger. Keeping your peace also means learning to separate your value from people's opinions. If someone calls you worthless, does that make you worthless? If someone mocks your efforts, does that erase your abilities? No. Their words are empty if you refuse to give them power. The truth about who you are does not change based on how others see you. When you remember this, their disrespect becomes like a passing shadow. It may darken the moment, but it cannot steal your light. There will always be people who test your patience, who push your buttons, who seem to thrive on disrespect. But each time they try, you have a choice. You can give them your peace and let them dictate your emotions, or you can hold on to your calm and show them that you will not be moved. And each time you choose peace, you become stronger. You build resilience that prepares you for greater challenges ahead. True greatness is not proven in how you treat those who honor you, but in how you handle those who dishonor you. Anyone can be kind to the kind, but only a strong and wise person can be calm before the disrespectful. By keeping your peace, you not only protect yourself, but you also set an example. You show others that respect is not something you beg for. It is something you live out. And those who once disrespected you may come to see that your calmness was not weakness, but strength beyond measure. So remember this, your peace is your power. Guard it, protect it. Do not hand it over to anyone, no matter how rude, arrogant, or dismissive they may be. For when you keep your peace in the face of disrespect, you rise above the noise, and in doing so, you prove that nothing outside of you has the power to control what lives within you. When it comes to dealing with people who do not respect you, one of the most vital lessons you must learn is the power of setting boundaries. Without boundaries, you leave the door of your life wide open for anyone to walk in, trample over your dignity, and leave you wounded. But when you establish limits, firm, clear, and consistent, you teach people how to treat you. Boundaries are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of self-respect. They are not walls built out of bitterness, but gates that allow love, honor, and kindness to enter while keeping out the things that would destroy your peace. Many people suffer quietly under the weight of disrespect because they have never drawn the line. They tolerate behavior that should not be tolerated, hoping that others will eventually change. But disrespect that is allowed will only grow deeper. Silence without boundaries communicates acceptance. If someone repeatedly mocks you, disregards your opinions, or speaks to you with contempt, and you say nothing, you are unintentionally teaching them that such behavior is permissible. Boundaries, however, send the opposite message. I value myself too much to allow this treatment to continue. It takes courage to set boundaries because it often means confronting uncomfortable situations. Some people may accuse you of being too harsh or too sensitive, but in truth, you are simply honoring yourself. Think about it this way: when you set boundaries, you are not trying to control the other person. You are taking responsibility for your own well-being. You are declaring, I cannot control how you choose to act, but I can control how close I allow you to come to my heart if you choose to dishonor me. That is wisdom and that is strength. Boundaries are not only about words, but also about actions. Sometimes you must step back from certain relationships when disrespect becomes a pattern. It may mean limiting conversations, changing the subject when the tone becomes demeaning, or even walking away completely if necessary. This does not mean you lack forgiveness. It means you refuse to be a doormat. Forgiveness can coexist with boundaries. You can forgive someone in your heart, yet still decide that their behavior disqualifies them from having unrestricted access to your life. Think of boundaries as fences around a garden. If you have a garden full of beautiful flowers and fruitful trees, you would not leave it unprotected, allowing anyone to trample the soil, pluck the blossoms, or uproot the roots. You would place a fence around it, not to keep everything out, but to preserve the life inside. Your soul, your dignity, and your peace are the garden. Boundaries are the fence. Without them, disrespect will trample everything that should be flourishing within you. There is also a misconception that boundaries push people away, but in reality, healthy boundaries can strengthen relationships. They create clarity. When you express to someone, I do not accept being spoken to in that tone, or I cannot continue this conversation if you mock me, you give them an opportunity to rise higher in how they interact with you. Boundaries show them the path to respect, and those who truly care about you will adjust. Those who do not are revealing that they were never concerned about your well-being in the first place. Boundaries also protect you from wasting energy on battles you were never meant to fight. If you constantly allow disrespect into your life, your time and focus will be consumed by anger, frustration, and hurt. But when you draw a line, you free yourself to invest your energy in relationships that uplift, inspire, and nurture you. You cannot stop people from being disrespectful, but you can choose not to let them close enough to poison your spirit. The truth is, people will only treat you as poorly as you allow. If you never set limits, they will push as far as they can. But when you establish boundaries, you demonstrate that you know your value. Respect begins with self-respect. When you honor yourself enough to protect your heart, others will either learn to honor you or they will fall away. Either outcome is in your favor because it ensures that your life is surrounded by those who bring strength instead of shame. So when you face disrespect, remember the power of boundaries. They are not selfish. They are necessary. They do not make you cold-hearted. They make you wise. Setting boundaries is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself because it is a declaration to the world, I know my worth, I know what I deserve, and I will not settle for anything less. When people disrespect you, the most tempting response is to fight fire with fire. You feel the heat of anger rise within you, and your mind scrambles to find words sharp enough to cut back just as deep. But wisdom whispers another way, a way that does not drag you into the mud but lifts you above it. The truth is, when you respond with anger, you stoop to the same level as the one who disrespected you, and in doing so, you give them victory over your emotions. But when you respond with wisdom, calmness, and self-control, you turn their attempt to humiliate you into an opportunity to display true strength. There is a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting comes from impulse, from the raw wound of insult. It is quick, loud, and often destructive. Responding, on the other hand, comes from composure and thoughtfulness. It is measured, calm, and intentional. When you choose to respond rather than react, you are telling yourself and the world, I refuse to let their disrespect dictate my behavior. That restraint is not weakness. It is power under control. Think of a lion. A lion does not roar at every small animal that crosses its path. It does not waste its energy on every sound in the jungle. A lion knows who it is, and because of that, it does not need to prove its strength in every situation. Similarly, when you know your worth, you do not need to match insult with insult. Your silence or calm reply says more about your character than 100 angry words ever could. Responding with wisdom also means choosing words that diffuse rather than escalate. When someone mocks you, your sharp reply may feel satisfying for a moment, but it will likely fuel the conflict further. But when you answer softly, or even with a controlled silence, you strip the situation of its power to escalate. Sometimes the wisest answer is none at all. Your refusal to engage in their chaos becomes its own kind of victory. It is important to remember that people who disrespect you are often looking for a reaction. They want to see you break, to see you lose control, because in that moment they feel stronger. But when you refuse to give them that reaction, when you remain calm and composed, you take away the very power they sought to have over you. They are left with their words echoing into emptiness, and it is your restraint that unsettles them, not your anger. There will be times, however, when a response is necessary. Silence can be powerful, but wisdom also calls for discernment. A calm, firm statement such as, I will not accept being spoken to this way, or I deserve to be treated with respect, can be enough to draw a line without inviting further conflict. The key is to deliver such words without heat, without venom, and without the desire to wound. That way, you communicate strength and self-respect without lowering yourself to their level. When you respond with wisdom, you also protect your own heart. Anger is not only destructive to relationships, it is destructive to you. It steals your peace, clouds your judgment, and drains your energy. How many times have people spent sleepless nights replaying an insult, thinking of what they should have said, allowing the bitterness to eat away at their joy? But wisdom chooses a different path. By staying calm and responding with control, you keep your peace intact and prevent the poison of anger from taking root in your spirit. Responding with wisdom does not mean you are passive. It does not mean you accept disrespect as normal. It means you deal with it in a way that preserves your dignity while not fueling the fire of conflict. It is standing firm without shouting, protecting your worth without tearing others down, and showing that respect is not begged for. It is commanded through the way you carry yourself. In the end, people will forget the details of the argument, but they will remember how you carried yourself in the middle of it. They may not recall the exact words exchanged, but they will never forget the dignity with which you held your ground. That dignity is a silent teacher. It says more about your strength than anger ever could. So when you face disrespect, resist the urge to answer with fury. Do not let anger steal the wisdom that lives within you. Pause. Breathe. Choose your response carefully. Sometimes the greatest statement is silence. Sometimes it is a calm, firm word. Whatever it may be, let it come from wisdom, not wrath. For in that moment, you not only rise above their disrespect, you prove that no insult is strong enough to pull you down from the height of your true worth. There comes a time when the most powerful response to disrespect is not words, not anger, not even explanation, but walking away. Walking away is often misunderstood. Many think it is a sign of weakness, an act of surrender, or proof that you could not stand up for yourself. But in reality, walking away with dignity is one of the strongest statements you can ever make. It shows that you value your peace more than their chaos, your self-respect more than their approval, and your purpose more than their attempts to pull you down. Not every battle is worth fighting. Some conflicts are designed to drain you, not to build you. If you fight every insult, argue with every critic, or defend yourself against every voice of disrespect, you will exhaust your energy on people who are unworthy of it. Wisdom teaches us that silence and distance often speak louder than words. By choosing to walk away, you are not saying, I am defeated. You are declaring, this is beneath me, and I will not waste my strength here. Walking away does not mean you have lost. It means you refuse to lose yourself. When you remain in environments filled with disrespect, you begin to absorb the negativity. It seeps into your thoughts, it clouds your spirit, and it slowly chips away at your confidence. But when you step back, when you create distance, you allow yourself to breathe freely again. You reclaim the atmosphere of your heart and protect the dignity that was never meant to be tarnished by their words or actions. Imagine someone throwing mud at you. If you choose to wrestle with them in the mud, you both end up dirty. But if you simply step back and walk away, the mud they tried to throw cannot cling to you. That is the essence of walking away with dignity. You stay clean while their actions reveal more about them than they ever could about you. There will be people who try to provoke you because they crave attention. They thrive on reaction. They want to see you angry, broken, or defensive, because in those moments they feel powerful. When you walk away, you deny them that power. Your silence unsettles them more than any words could. They expect a fight, but instead, you leave them fighting with their own conscience. That is the victory of quiet strength. It takes courage to walk away because the desire to prove yourself is strong. The human heart longs to be understood, to be respected, to be vindicated. But not everyone deserves an explanation, and not every disrespect requires a defense. Sometimes the highest form of self-respect is to simply remove yourself. By walking away, you are saying, I don't need your approval to know my worth, and I will not remain in a place that refuses to honor it. Walking away with dignity also opens the door for healthier relationships. If you hold on tightly to those who consistently disrespect you, you leave no room for the people who would value you. Every step you take away from dishonor is a step closer to genuine respect. You cannot force someone to treat you right, but you can choose not to stand in the place where you are treated wrong. Life is too short to waste on circles that dishonor your presence. And remember, walking away does not always mean forever. Sometimes it means creating enough space for the other person to realize their behavior. Distance can be a teacher. When someone no longer has the privilege of your presence, they may begin to understand what they lost. Whether they change or not is not your responsibility, but your decision to leave communicates a lesson more powerful than any argument could. The dignity of walking away lies in the quiet strength it represents. It is not about pride. It is about peace. It is not about arrogance. It is about self-preservation. You are not walking away because you are less. You are walking away because you are more. More than the insult, more than the disrespect, more than the chaos. So, when faced with disrespect, do not always feel the need to answer back. Do not let your pride trap you in pointless battles. Sometimes the wisest, bravest, and most powerful thing you can do is turn and leave. With your head held high, with your dignity intact, you walk away, not in defeat, but in quiet victory. For in that moment, you prove to the world and to yourself that no one's disrespect has the power to chain you, because your worth is greater than their words. At the heart of handling disrespect lies one unshakable truth: your self-worth is not determined by how others treat you. Too many people carry wounds from words spoken in anger, from dismissive gestures, from rejection and dishonor. They begin to measure their value by the opinions of others, as though respect from people is what makes them worthy. But the truth is, your worth does not fluctuate with someone else's recognition. Whether they honor you or ignore you, whether they celebrate you or criticize you, your value remains the same. When you know your worth, disrespect loses its power. Words that were meant to wound bounce off like arrows against armor. Actions meant to diminish you fail to take root in your spirit. Self-worth becomes your shield, protecting you from the sting of insult. You begin to see disrespect not as evidence of your failure, but as proof of their blindness. They cannot see the treasure within you, but that blindness does not make the treasure less valuable. A diamond does not cease to be a diamond because someone treats it like a stone. Its worth is not defined by the beholder, but by its nature. The danger of forgetting your worth is that you begin to live in the shadow of people's opinions. If they praise you, you feel valuable. If they mock you, you feel worthless. But this is a fragile way to live, because your identity swings like a pendulum on the fragile rope of other people's approval. True strength comes when you root your worth so deeply that no storm of disrespect can uproot it. You know who you are, and no voice, no action, no insult can take that away. When you focus on your self-worth, you also stop begging for validation. Too often, people exhaust themselves trying to prove their value to those who refuse to see it. They change themselves, lower themselves, or overextend themselves just to gain a sliver of respect. But if someone cannot recognize your worth as you are, their validation will never satisfy you, even if you earn it. Respect that must be begged for is not true respect. Real respect flows naturally toward those who already respect themselves. Self-worth also gives you courage to demand better. When you know your value, you stop tolerating what diminishes you. You no longer sit quietly in circles that belittle you, or cling to relationships that dishonor you, or remain in places where your dignity is trampled. Instead, you choose differently. You walk in environments where your presence is celebrated, not merely tolerated. You invest your time in people who lift you higher, not in those who pull you down. And when disrespect shows up, you recognize it as a lie that does not belong to you. It is also important to realize that self-worth is not pride. Pride inflates the ego and seeks to elevate itself above others, but true self-worth is humble and steady. It does not need to shout or boast because it is secure in silence. A person who knows their worth does not need to put others down to feel lifted. They carry themselves with quiet confidence, and that confidence speaks louder than arrogance ever could. There will always be those who do not see you clearly. Some will envy you, some will misunderstand you, some will belittle you simply because they cannot comprehend the greats within you. But their blindness is not your burden. Their inability to respect you does not erase your dignity. When you root yourself in self-worth, you can stand firm even when the world does not applaud. You can rise tall even when others try to push you down. You can keep moving forward unshaken because your worth does not come from them. It comes from the unchangeable truth of who you are. Focusing on self-worth is also about daily reminders. Every day you wake up, you must choose to affirm your value. You remind yourself that your voice matters, that your presence matters, that your life has purpose. When disrespect comes, and it will, you will be ready, not because you expect the world to treat you fairly, but because you have already chosen to believe in yourself. That inner belief becomes your anchor, steadying you when the waves of dishonor crash against you. So remember this: no matter how people treat you, your worth does not change. Disrespect may sting, rejection may wound, mockery may hurt, but none of these things define you. You are valuable not because others say so, but because you already are. Hold your head high, guard your heart with dignity, and never let the voices of disrespect drown out the truth of your worth. For when you know your value, you rise above the noise, and in that quiet strength, you command the kind of respect that no one can take away.